What's up guys, Rip here, and today I want to talk about the Season 4 changes to martial law. Of course, we're going to talk about the new move, we're going to talk about the buffs, we're going to talk about the nerfs, but more importantly, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that's missing from martial law in Tekken 7. So let's get into it right after this message from our sponsor. Yo, what up guys?
Hey,
Yo,
what's up?
Dude, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving?
Hold up. Where's Ricky been?
That's a great
Oh my god. You guys don't know what happened?
What?
Oh. He went out with this smoking hot girl, and one thing led to another, and
What?
he wasn't ready to play ball.
He wasn't prepared?
Prepared?
Nah, man. We gotta do something about this.
It's
Manscaped
time! Lawnmower 3.0!
Weed whacker.
Ball toner.
Manscaped!
Damn. The heck? Oh. Hey, check it out. Manscaped. Nice.
Alrighty, so here's the list of all of Law's changes. Let's start at the very top. We're going to start with his jab strings that end in that high 2. Now on counter, this will actually give you a knockdown. So whether it's off of the 1-2-2-2, or the 2-2-2-2, or the forward 2-2-2-2, that last hit right there, it's going to be a counter hit knockdown. So I'm going to try to space this out correctly. Boom, like that, right? So you see that counter hit knockdown there. This is a buff, gives you a little bit guaranteed damage afterwards. But, you know, it seems kind of useless, right? Until you get to the next move. The next move, of course, is the mix-up with the mid-ender here. Now, this mid-ender, doesn't matter which string you do it off of, is actually going to be a wall bounce, right? So this is a pretty big buff for Law. Before, the only wall bounce he had was his forward 3 right here. And this move, though, the problem with it is that it's actually launch punishable on block. So this gives him another option. Still punishable on block, but not as punishable, right? And it's now a mix-up with this high string, which is a counter knockdown. So now, of course, this gives him options because after this string, people are going to be waiting. So you can do a throw, you can do a low, because they don't want to get by the mid or the high, right? So they may duck for the mid, which is also a bad mix-up for them. So it opens up some doors. So I do like this move a lot. I think this is a good buff for Law. Next up, we've got the change to his 3+4-4. So now the second hit is gone from -12 on block to -14, which means it's launch punishable by some of the characters out there. They increase the recovery time after the move hits by 2 frames. And then now the third hit reduced the strength of pushback and made the move easier to land. The third hit changed, not that big of a deal. But the second hit now being launch punishable on block is going to be a big deal, right? So in this case, Jin would be able to electric it. So obviously this is a nerf, but because this move is going to want them to punish, this third hit's now going to be more viable. So in case they blocked it now, that third hit there, they're going to want to attack it. They're going to get hit by the third hit more often, basically. Next up, we have a change to his banana peel. This has adjusted motion since it was difficult for the opponent in jump stats to land a mid attack. Not a big change that actually changed anything. I think this is supposed to be for Kuma or Geese or someone jumps in at him. So they changed the motion of it. Still seems to be just as effective as it always has been. Not a big deal. Alright, the next change up here is going to be DSS4. Right, it says change the frame advantage when blocked from -14 to -13. This is a good buff. Because certain characters will be able to launch this at 14 frames, but now on block it's only going to be -13, and you see there +6 on hit. So that's a good buff, but this is also my biggest problem with Law. We'll come back to that at the end of this video. Next up, we got down back 3. Change the opponent's behavior when the move lands as counter hit. This move here used to knock down and counter hit. Now on counter, they just grab their toe like this, alright? Now, this is obviously a nerf, but you see there's +14, so it's actually pretty hard for them to interrupt you. So you have a lot of frame advantage here. You can kind of put the offense on them, so it makes stuff like 3+4 uninterruptible, which is a little bit risky to throw out now, so maybe just throw out back 4. Obviously, that's going to be a pretty safe option, but depending on the range you land this on, you got to be a little bit careful of that as well. But +14, still pretty good move overall. Next up, we've got the new move, down back 3+4. We'll come back to that at the end, though. Let's go on. Let's go back 2-2 here. First hit, increase the range of the attack. Second hit, change the opponent's behavior when the move lands as a counter hit. So basically here, back 2 has more range than previously did, which is great. This is one of Law's core tools. Having more range here is going to help out a lot. Second hit on counter hit is basically just matching the jab strings second hit. So there you're going to get that same kind of knockdown animation. It's going to let you get a follow-up afterwards as well. So not a huge change there. Not the end of the world. Small little buff there, but really the back 2 by itself having more range is where it's really going to be at, because you're going to be able to get them to a wall, get a wall combo, double backdash, they whiff a get up kick, back to 1, get the wall splat. So that's a pretty good buff for law right there. Moving on, forward, 4-3. So of course these are going to be damage buffs here. The first hit increased damage from 12 to 17. Second hit increased damage from 17 to 23. This is a really good buff for law because this move was actually previously nerfed, right? So forward, 4-3 used to do an automatic bound. Now you see there it does an automatic screw attack. So this used to be Law's highest damage launcher, and you can use it as a whiff punisher. But then, since it turned to an auto screw attack, you lost a ton of damage on the combos. So this, to me, is just a correction of that. It also does give him some stronger combos overall if you use it as your screw attack instead of back 2-1. So there's that potential, but really the damage difference there is only a little bit. It's going to be more significant when you use this move as a whiff punisher, and I think that's where the true strength of this lies. Next up, we have Running 3. Increase the lower range of the attack. This move here, obviously, Running 3 is always going to be a really good move. I haven't really felt the difference in it in terms of horizontal range, so I think it's really just a lower hitbox that it's got, which is probably meant to fight against Zafina and Ling Xiaoyu or something, so not the crazy change there. I'll call that a buff, though, why not? And then lastly here, we've got While Rising 1. Change the damage from 13 to 10. I hate this change. Alright, look. While standing 1-2 is not an easy move to hit confirm. Alright, let me show you here. While standing 1-2, easy to block, right, on a regular hit. You have to counter hit it for it to be more hit confirmable. Right? That's only on counter hit, so you have to counter hit confirm it. Second hit is high here, so they can always duck the second and kill you if you don't confirm it correctly. Huge risk here. Other characters, like Bakaram, have the exact same move, and it's completely easy to hit confirm. So this to be reduced in damage from 13 to 10, while they also increase the life bar and also decrease combos because of the damage scaling on wall combos, just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, dude, this is like a core poke. You know, it's not easy to hit confirm. You're gonna die. So I don't understand this change here. This one has me really scratching my head. That is not a change I'm a fan of at all. That's a really weird nerf to law in my opinion. Alright, let's go back to the new move. Obviously, this is down back 3+4. It's his new attack. This, though, is supposed to be the notation for Frogman. So when I first saw this, I went through the move list. I'm like, what do they change Frogman to be? And I looked at the move list and I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh man, I'm sad. You know, Frogman is such an iconic move from Law. It's been around forever. And it's gone? Like, what? You know, it's crazy, right? And there are a lot of Law players that are super duper butthurt about this. Just frame James. But when I think about it, really, Frogman is not a move I really used a lot. You know, it was very, very situational. Rarely ever got any use. So it's really interesting to see Namco removing kind of old, useless moves from the game and replacing them with new moves. So this move here is Law's new move. Down back 3+4. Now, it doesn't give you anything on counter hit. It's the same kind of animation, right? So it's plus 52 on counter hit. It's plus 52 on regular hit. You know, nothing changes about this move on counter hit or regular hit. But it's mid, right? It's solid. It is minus 13 on block, so it is punishable. The thing about it is, Law actually ducks really fast here. So he actually can go underneath highs and even some mids with this attack, which is just ridiculous. It's awesome, right? It's really good in that sense. The range on it is not the best. Sometimes it will actually just miss when you think it's going to hit them, so you got to use it a little bit carefully right there. But because he starts off in his like crouching animations, it actually makes a really good mix-up with Banana Peel, in my opinion. So this is something I like to do. But, you know, as far as Okazemi goes, you know, I've heard people say that this gives you good Okazemi. This is not Okazemi, alright? If you knock someone down, the position it leaves them in is still face up, feet towards, which is a basic position. They hold back, and then the Okazemi is just a pure mix-up. You know, it's whether do you want to do down back 3, do you want to do a back 3 afterward, you know, do you want to do a throw, you know, do you want to do a stomp? You know, these are all your options that you have, but it's still just a mix-up game as you would get after most knockdowns of the game. You know, if it knocked you down in a situation like this, you know, then you would have a good situation where you can catch them with a back roll catch or something. So it's not really Okazemi, it just leaves you in a basic mix-up position. One other thing I should mention about it going underneath highs, this could be a really good move against Magic 4s or against Electrics or like moves like Steve's back 1 where it's going to be a countered high launcher. You just run up where they're going to do it and then you just do this move to go underneath it. Obviously, you're not going to get a crazy follow-up, but if their back is to the wall, you actually do get a follow-up with this attack. you get while standing 4 into the wall combo there, right? This is the easiest thing you can do, right? While standing 4 DSS this. You can also crouch cancel and then double flips for a little bit more damage. Obviously, when you want to get them to a wall, if it's a balcony stage or a breakable wall, that could be even better. Alrighty, and the last change I want to go back to is DSS 4, right? Obviously, they made the safer unblock. Now it's only minus 13 instead of minus 14. The problem is, this move is too slow. It's 24 frames. It's his only low out of DSS, right? It's his only low. So anytime Law goes into DSS, he only has that low, right? Into DSS, only that low. 24 frames. People are reacting to this. Even if you do something like on hit, challenge, spin kick into that, people can react to that and low parry it in time, right? So it's absolutely trash. And the old move that used to be DSS 4-3 was like the last two hits of Junkyard, except in reverse, was safe on block. Tekken 7 comes along, they make this a counter hit knockdown, right? So now it's a counter hit knockdown, a little bit of free extra damage there, whatever, but it doesn't give good Oki position, right? If they were face up in that position, that could have been better, right? If they were face up here instead of face down, that could be better for us, because then we could get back roll catch situations. But Law has no Oki situations in general in this game, which was a big strength of Law in the previous Tekkens. Now, this thing being his only low also sucks because DSS itself has been totally wrecked overall, right? Because now the mid options you have instead of this low, this one minus 14, this one minus 14. So now everyone who has 14 frame launchers can launch all of his mid options out of DSS. The only ones guys like this poison arrow, hella slow, right? So it's like, what is Law left in the situation to do? Basically, it means DSS is kind of useless for offense, which is kind of the direction Law's been going lately, and it sucks because Law is less fun without DSS. He's got this cool stance, it takes execution, you gotta learn it, you gotta practice it, and then you got no place to use it except for in combos, you know? So the counter confirm off this would have been really cool, but now that this is minus 14, it's much riskier to even try to counter confirm that, even though it's one of the hardest things to do. So that really, really sucks overall, right? Like minus 13, if you want to change the damage from minus 12 to minus 14, minus 13 would have probably been a better frame advantage number to make it minus after. As is, like I mentioned earlier, it's still going to be fine because people are going to get hit by the last hit, but still high, you're still going to be able to duck it. So overall, I just feel like DSS is not good, right? And I wish they would address that. Because right now, if you just sidestep right duck, it's going to beat every single DSS option out there, right? Sidestep right duck, you'll beat everything. So what is Law supposed to do? He's supposed to like DSS into like this, but it's high. And that's like his fastest tracking option, right? So if they would make DSS forward 1 track to Law's left, right? If they made DSS forward 3 even track to his left, so he has to take a big risk in trying to track in that direction. You know, anything to help him out. Because right now, if they just sidestep right duck, all of DSS is dead. And the only low out of this is this one, right? And that's one of the things Law players have been asking for forever, a fast low out of DSS. You know, I'm not saying we have to have it. I'm not saying it's necessary for Law. I'm just saying Law would be a lot more fun if he had something like that, right? Because Law, he's obviously a poke machine. His damage isn't super high. And obviously, the way they kind of balance his character, you know, they gave him great standing punchers. You know, he doesn't have the best wild standing punch, right? His wild standing 4 is very small damage. Even at 12, he only gets this against standing opponents, right? So it's not until 13 he gets the wild standing 1 too. So his crouching punishment is not the best, but if you crouch and block something, you leave you in full crouch, you get the mix up here. Wild standing 4 goes into DSS, which would be good if it gave you good options after it, but the DSS options are all trash. So it's not really a beneficial situation to punish with wild stand 4 and go into DSS. So that kind of sucks as well. Regardless though, you know, what else does Law need, I think? You know, his power crushes. This one, it's a multi-input, right? You have to DSS into this to get this high power crush. The other power crush he has is forward 4-3, which is launch punishable and a wall bounce, right? Because it's a power crush that wall bounces, it makes sense that it's launch punishable, but it also means that Law doesn't really have a power crush, you know? So it would be nice if, like, maybe this useless move that they gave him previously, if this move would have been like a power crush, or if it had been a new wall bounce, maybe minus 13 instead of minus 14, this move is still not going to get used, right? It's not evasive enough. It doesn't do enough anything for it to be useful. The other useful move he has, backswing blow, right? Like, there are certain cases you can make this thing useful, but it's got a backswing way better if it wants to be useful, in my opinion. Other than that, the one big thing everyone's talking about, where is Law's rage drive? Right? I mean, everyone else has like 2 rage drives, I feel like. Lawson over here, he's like, yo, man, can I get a rage drive? Can I get one of these? Like, yo, what do you think about this sick Dragon Tail, right? I mean, like, look, if you land this Dragon Tail against someone, it's pretty effective because you can get a small combo, right? If they're a bigger character, you can get a bigger combo, right? You can get the 4-3 against some characters, right? It's very difficult. And it sucks because it's the same startup as a regular Dragon Tail, right? 26 frames. 26 frames. So it's just as slow and useless as a regular Dragon Tail. And half the time you do it, the damn the blue part doesn't come out. So they block and you die. So anyways, his rage drive is trash. We all know this. Give him a new rage drive, you know? Like, I don't care what it is. Give him a rage drive out of DSS. You know what I mean? Let him get a rage drive low launcher out of DSS. You know, how about a Ling Xiaoyu, you know, rage drive from back turn. So you can, like, do this back turn trip out of back turn or something. Or maybe instead of that, it makes, like, this as a rage drive or something. You know, so he can do something to mix up this back turn low. Anything would be better. Literally anything. How about a triple flip? You know, double flip, and then boom, third flip, set him in the sky. You know what I mean? Just literally anything with the rage drive would be, like, shocking to me, because I would have to think, like, oh my god, I have rage. What do I do now? Because currently, if I have rage, I'm like, all right, where am I going to use my rage art? That's it. That's the only game plan, you know? There obviously are players that won't deal with the rage drive well, but for the most part, Law doesn't have a rage drive. He doesn't have a power crush. And that's why he's got the standing punches that are as good as he does. You know, obviously 3+4/4 is one of the best standing punches in the game, period. Right? I agree with that. But now it's -14 on the first hit, so you can't just throw it out willy-nilly, right? And if you throw it out willy-nilly, second it's high, you can duck it, launch it. Otherwise, it's -13, it's still standing punish it either. So, you know, it's not the best, right? But regardless, I think that DSS not having good options to track to his left is a problem. Not having a good low out of DSS is a problem. The rest of it stuff, you know. I do like the new move, though. You know, it's a good addition. I do like the change to back 2. I do like that one a lot, actually. You know, this being a wall bounce now is pretty cool. It's not like the craziest thing in the world, but there are situations where it's going to come in handy. It gives you a reason to do these strings more often. So all those changes, I think, are pretty darn good. But it doesn't address, like, the core things that Law is missing, right? So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get it later. But that's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Rip. I'll catch you guys next time. That was sick.